Good morning everyone, it's Michelle here, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It's early on Friday morning and look at the amount of leaves that have been lost now. It's very autumnal. There's still some to come down. The trees have been a little bit reluctant to give up their leaves because it's been quite warm, for the time of year. It's a tropical 11 degrees C as we speak. And apart from the wind, it's a very nice morning. So I'm going to try and stay sheltered from the wind by being in the woods. Yesterday's video was a lot of wind noise. And I know some people don't like it and kind of tune out. So we're going to stay in the trees this morning so that we can have a chat. And I'm going to try to give you a message of hope, of positivity, because there's been so much negativity in the true crime community, particularly in terms of the Summer Wells case. Now, I know that the negativity, the backbiting, the cliques that form, goes on in all walks of life, but in the true crime community, where there's a case that people are heavily invested in, people become very passionate. I saw it happen with the Chris Watts case, and I guess it stands to reason that that's going to happen. But when we've got a case like Summer Wells, like Chris Watts was different because Chris Watts confessed. And I know kind of there was some talk about him not being the sole murderer, but it was a case that was closed very quickly. But with Summer Wells, it's an open and active investigation, that's been going on now for 5 months with no more leads than there were in the first week. And it's very frustrating, and I'm frustrated by it, but I want to try to give you some hope and show you that social media doesn't have to be a curse. Social media doesn't have to be about backbiting. It shouldn't be like that. Nowhere in life should be like that. Unfortunately, it is, and we have to accept that, but we all have to do better. We all have to do better, right? Theories, great. I've got loads of videos about theories in the Summer Wells case. Great. Looking at certain aspects, getting into the details, great. But bear in mind, right, that other people might have different ideas to you. They might have interpreted things differently to you. And that's okay, because we're all adults and we can all be civil about it. In terms of what the community can do for the Summer Wells case, that's the place I want to really take us to this morning when I've got under all of this nonsense here. Let's get under it all, shall we? I'm falling. Ow. I didn't mean to come this way, yet here I am in all this brush, all these twigs. I like this secret part of the woods because no one comes here. So I can think, I can analyse, I can chat without interruptions, apart from like getting legged up by these and stuff. I've been saying now for quite a few videos that in the Summer Wells case, we really should be looking at why. Why did this happen? Because it is an open and active investigation, and Ellie will have information that they've not released. I'm sure of it. I wouldn't bet my house on it, but I'm sure of it. So when people come up with theories that are very, very plausible, as in, the things I do, where I take the available evidence and I try to put it together in a coherent way. That's a good way to theorise. That's what LE do, right? They take what evidence they've got and they theorise and they work on certain theories. But they stay open-minded. All investigators need to stay open-minded. If you just go down one route and you conclude prematurely that this happened or that happened in this way, then you can be completely led up the garden path. You've led yourself up the garden path, and that's not what investigations are about, because you've always got to keep an open mind, and you've always got to think that, yes, we can put this together, this information, in a coherent way, but are there other ways to interpret it? So I do wish people would develop critical thinking. We've all got the ability to do it, as long as we stay open-minded. But we don't have all of the facts. We don't have the information that LE has. Right, well, let's just bear that in mind. But I was going to be positive, and that's all I've got to say that could be interpreted in a negative manner. I hope it isn't. I hope it's taken in an informational way and just as a reminder to stay open-minded. But I want to remind you of two cases, both very, very recent, where social media has been incredibly constructive and has given LE the puzzle pieces that have needed to actually solve the case. So take you back just a few short weeks to the Gabby Petito case, when Gabby unfortunately was lying victim of homicide there in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming, and she was all on her own, right? She was all on her own, and yeah, the LE were looking in that area, but Great Teton National Park is huge, and they were homing in more specifically, but this place is vast. It's a dispersed campground, and it was YouTubers Red White Bethune who happened to just drive by and see Gabby's van parked at the side of the road, and it was that cracked the case. It was that took LE to Gabby. The fact that, you know, so much had been talked about in Gabby's case, it was literally all over social media. It was difficult to miss, right, if you were on social media. And Red White Bethune noticed the van and thought, hold on a minute, that looks like that van from the Gabby Petito case. They called it in, and lo and behold, it absolutely was. Would LE have found Gabby's body had Red White Bethune not seen the van? Maybe. But it most probably would have taken them longer. And there was always that chance. It was always that chance that no one was ever going to find it. The fact that the van was there on the side of the road, that was a real rookie mistake by Brian, but what can you say? Brian was a fool, shall we say. Before I move on to the next positive case, I'll just give you a quick update. And do you know what I'm trying to find? I'm trying to find that tree that I sat on the other day. I can't find it. Where's it gone? Where was it? I don't understand. Maybe it was over here. I don't know. But before we move on to the next case where social media has cracked the case, just want to give you a quick update on Brian Laundrie, seeing as we're here talking about Gabby and Brian. So Brian Entin just put some tweets out about it, because people have been asking. There's no cause of death as of yet. You'll know if you followed the Brian Laundrie case that no cause of death had been issued. It was skeletal remains that were determined to be Brian. based on his dental records, but that's it. So the bones were sent to a forensic anthropologist, and there we wait. So Brian also said that the fraud charge, where the warrant came from, the warrant for his arrest came from, is still active. Well, it will be. That's not a surprise. It will be, because the coroner's report, the medical examination has not yet been completed. So while that's still open, then everything else will remain open and will remain at a standstill. So you don't need to go down the conspiracy route and say, oh, well, they're still looking for Brian, you know, Brian's still alive. There is always that possibility, I guess, and maybe that's why, you know, it's usual. Until the medical examination is fully complete and all the paperwork's done, then there is always that chance that that person is not the person that they think it is. So I hope they have done DNA on Brian's body and they've actually confirmed it, because otherwise there's gonna be speculation, you know, for years to come, whether Brian is actually dead or not. If you watched my Crime Stories Sunday, which is the weekly series that I do over on my second channel, Michelle Walks, check it out. On Sunday we talked about H.H. Holmes, and this was an American serial killer from the 19th century, and for many years, up until 2017, there was speculation about whether it was H.H. Holmes that they caught and they hung for his crimes, or whether he fooled Ellie. But by dental records and DNA, they exhumed the body in 2017 to put pay to all of this. One of the universities took it on, and it was the body was H.H. Holmes. So that's like over 100 years later that case was finally put to rest. Look at these little mushies. Look at these little mushies. Oh, they're cute. Don't ruin them. We're not going to ruin the little mushies. Was this the tree that I sat on the other day, or was it a different tree? Because I don't remember those. Or have they literally grown overnight? I don't know. I'm confused. But we're going to sit here and have a chat. But moving swiftly on. The Noah and Amber Clare disappearance. It's very new. This happened yesterday, that Noah and Amber Clare were found and Jacob Clare is in custody. Quick reminder of the case, because I know not everybody's been following it or will have even heard of it. I've done Noah and Amber as the third case that I've done in my Where Is series over on Michelle Walks. So you're missing a lot. If you're not over on Michelle Walks already, you're missing a lot. So Noah is 3 and is the biological son of Jacob. Jacob has got temporary rights. His mother, Amanda, Noah's mother, has got full parental custody, but Jacob is allowed visitation. So the weekend of the 5th of November, Jacob picked up Noah for his usual weekend, his usual visit, and didn't return him. Also concerning was the fact that Jacob Clare's biological niece, who the family had stopped him seeing due to them believing that he's been grooming her, 16-year-old Amber, she'd gone as well. And law enforcement had some intelligence. I reported on this earlier on in the week over on Michelle Walks, that they thought that Jacob would head up north, because he lives in Beaver Dam, Kentucky. He would head up north to Harbour Springs, Michigan, because he's got family up there. But that proved not to be true whatsoever. Right, that was not true, despite Ellie putting that out on social media. He'd actually gone west, and it comes out that his car had actually been sighted as early as November the 7th in Arizona, and then had been impounded on November the 13th. Now this came out days later in San Clemente, California, so not too far from the Mexican border, about less than 2 hours drive from the Mexican border. But this car had been abandoned with loads of stuff in it. So the speculation was, have they stolen a car? Have they somehow got their hands on another vehicle? Have they taken a train or a bus down to the Mexican border and managed to cross over? That was the big concern. But no. And again, this was solved by social media. A lady by the name of Julia Bonin saw the three, and Jacob is unusually tall, he's 6'7", and Amber's quite tall as well for her age. So they're quite conspicuous, a very tall man, a teenage girl and a little boy, and they were walking down the side of a road. And she passed by, taking her son to school, and then it clicked on in her head that these could be the people that she'd seen being talked about on social media. She followed them, she called the cops, and followed them and kept them in sight until the cops arrived. So well done, Julia, and well done everybody on social media who has publicised this case, because without that they'd still be wandering around Fleming, California. You know, they were walking, they didn't have another vehicle, they were walking, they just abandoned a vehicle, and this little 3-year-old boy was walking along the side of a road. That's no way to live if you're 3. So Noah and Amber are safe, and that case has been solved. Would the cops have caught up with them eventually? Probably yes. But how do you know that some unfortunate thing wouldn't have befell them, either intentionally or otherwise? So the fact that they were caught there and then, that day, yesterday, is amazing. And they're safe. So 2 very recent cases where publicising the case on social media has directly led to that case being solved way quicker than it would have been otherwise. Before I sign off, I just want to give you an update on the WilliamTyrrell case, because this is not one that's been solved by social media, but this has been 7 years in the works. So September the 12th, I think, if I remember rightly, 2014, little William, who was in foster care, little toddler, disappeared from his foster grandmother's home in Kendal, New South Wales, Australia. And the foster mother, who was with William at the time, has never wavered from her story. They were playing in the garden, and 1 minute William was there, the next minute he was gone. She could hear him, and then she couldn't. And he's never been seen since. But earlier this week, there was a development in the case, and they started to search for William's remains in the step-grandmother's home, who she's now deceased. And they've done a load of testing, they're digging up the place, they've got luminol all over the place to show up any signs of blood. Even 7 years later, there's still that possibility. They've even gone and found the step-grandmother's car that she had at the time that William disappeared, like, which is now, you know, in another ownership, someone else's ownership, but they've gone and impounded that car. So they mean business. And then a couple of days ago it came out that the foster mother is the only person of interest now in the case. You know, this has wrecked people's lives who were accused of William's abduction and murder. It's, you know, the local guys who were considered suspects by people around, you know, have lost businesses and just really bad. You know, there's kind of a lot of backstory that's gone on over the 7 years. But yeah, and now it's come out, the latest thing has come out, that the foster parents have been charged with common assault of another child in their care. Now, does that relate to William? Maybe, maybe not. But it's certainly, you know, all eyes now are on them. And I think they will get to the bottom of this now, after 7 years. So, my message of hope, amidst all of this, is that for Summer, don't give up hope. It's only been 5 months. This is not unusual for a police investigation to go on this long when it's a complex case. Think of the Barry Morphew case. It took them a year to arrest Barry. It took them, several months to arrest Larry Miliete, because there's no body. So it's difficult when there's no body. There's no proof of life, but also there's no proof of death, and that's even harder with a child who doesn't have like bank cards and mobile phones that they can track and stuff. So don't be despondent about the length of time that the investigation's taking. Even if it all does go quiet and people get fed up of backbiting each other and everything goes quiet, it doesn't mean to say that's the end for Summer. Look at William. 7 years later, there's been new developments, and it's now very much likely that this case will be solved. Don't give up hope, but just be kind. Just be kind. You know, talk about Summer, put out her details. By all means, theorise, but keep it within the realms of the facts we know. And if someone disagrees with you, that's okay. You don't need to bully them or backbite them for it. I've never seen anything like that since I was at school, and I hated it then. I didn't get involved with it then. So I'm certainly not going to get involved with it now. I'm not on anybody's side. I just don't like it. I don't think it's helpful. It's detrimental, in fact, to social media, because people are being turned off. People are being turned off following the case. And if people are turned off following the case, that's less people with eyes on the case to share her details, to talk about her. Because it only takes that one person to spot something and to report it in. As with Gabby Petito and Red White Bethune. As with Noah and Amber Clare. With Julia Bonning. People turning off the case due to the bullying and the backbiting is detrimental to Summer. So stop it. Just stop it. Talk about Summer. Talk about her case. Talk about theories, but do it in a respectful, adult manner. That's all I ask. All right, I'm going to call it a day here. This is a bit longer than I thought it was going to be. I thought this would be a quite brief video. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. Hope you found it informative. And I'll speak to you tomorrow. Goodbye from Miss Tillington. Goodbye from Miss Cassie Springer. And if you're still here in the secret end of the video club, this Sunday, episode 5 of Crime Story Sunday over on Michelle Walks. I've got the case. I know what case I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you tomorrow. I'm going to put out a YouTube short over on Michelle Walks tomorrow afternoon, UK time, sometime, and I'll tell you what the case is. Okay, bye for now.